committee. I don't know why. I think bounce checks are a lifestyle, but they put me on the finance committee to learn. This is Denise Mello Boyd. She is a top producer in our office. She is on the finance committee. We know why. But she manages a household of 3 children, 2 dogs, and a husband, right?
Sometimes 2 husbands.
Sometimes 2 husbands. She's a really fun gal. This is why she's successful in real estate. Now, Denise and I have 2 different styles, and that's going to be really advantageous for you today. Denise ruined my introduction to you guys. I couldn't trust her for a minute while I went to the bathroom. So we were trying to bring stuff that you need or set up to show you about open house and different personalities. So I was in charge of bringing cookies, which I forgot to get at the grocery store last night. So I have Girl Scout cookies at home, which, so you know, did you throw out the boxes or they're in here? No. I buy like 5,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, which is a really good touch for your clients to buy their kids cookies. And then I have stick-on business cards. These are the only business cards I own. They stick on boxes. And I stick them on all the boxes and fill my counter. And whenever I'm bored and going out in the car to do something or like look at a neighborhood, I throw in a couple boxes. And if I pass a client's business or house, I knock on the door and give them a box of cookies. And you know, you get a box of Thin Mints in December. You're like, whoa, this is really cool. So we brought plates to put the cookies on. I was supposed to bring the plates, and Denise did because she didn't think I'd get it handled. And this is Denise's beautiful plate. She put the cookies on. Silver, attractive, tasteful. This was my plate I brought to put the cookies on. This is kind of how we do open houses. So Denise has very nice water bottles with holders. I have flashlights, so while you're trying to look at the house, your children can blind you. So Denise and I are here to tell you how to have a successful open house for yourself, for your business, and for agents that you do them for.
And I need to please say hello to Facebook. We're on Facebook right now, so this is predominantly for Susan. Let's watch our language.
Oh.
Okay.
We were discussing our meeting yesterday, and Denise says, you can't say stupid. That was a rule I have for my children. You are not allowed to use the rule stupid. So I had to text them both last night and tell them my coworker said I can't use the word stupid. So that's the last time I'm saying it today. And I want everyone to know that Facebook does add 10 pounds. So Denise and I are wearing fat suits. This is not what we really do. Okay. Take it away. All right, so the first thing about open houses, the reason Denise and I decided to teach this class is there were a few things that were happening for us that were a little frustrating. As you know, I don't ever say senior agents or more experienced agents because I continually tell everyone in any class I teach, every single morning when you and I get up and get out of bed, we have the same business. I'm not more successful than you. I'm not more experienced than you. We both wake up broke. You've got to make your money every day. So when you're trying to find business and generate business by doing open houses, you look to agents that may have listings in areas you don't. Try not to use that first. And
no, I just kind of looked at your screenshot.
That's my family. Should I change that?
No, it adds to the charm, actually.
Thank you. Anyhow, but so we were frustrated sometimes when we would have a listing and put it out there for open houses, and the first thing you do, you give you, oh, I want your open house, no problem, I'll do it Sunday 2 to 4, blah, blah, blah. And then 5 minutes later you get a thing, I don't have any signs. Can I borrow your signs? I'm not here to give you signs. I don't do open houses. I'm giving you the listing. I'm not supposed to talk like that. We would prefer if you had your own sign, because that's part of doing the open house. Or our client will call me on Sunday at 12 o'clock and say, didn't you tell me there were going to be signs out? There's still no open house signs. Are we doing an open house today? So we felt that perhaps people had not really delved into what makes for a successful open house for the agent who has the listing, but more so a successful open house for you. Yep. You know, you are doing the open house to get business. Oh, well, there went that. We don't need it now, we're fine, we'll get it.
I'll just put you on the FMLS page.
Okay. Anyhow, so we started the list. The first thing that you need to do when you want to do an open house to build your business is you need to identify how you want to do and where you want to do an open house. I love to put out, let's co-op together. I've got an open house in Roswell, 675,000. Who wants it Saturday or Sunday? I'm going to tell you that I get no less than 24 responses in about 3 minutes. I definitively always say, do not call. And out of that 24, 8 of you call me. I have 1,000 phone calls I take every day. I don't have the information right in front of me. I can't log how it comes
Really,
in.
1,000?
1,000.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't be so silly. So you, and we should have name tags. I mean, you have name tags on, but I can't see that far without my glasses. So say that Riley responds to me, I want your open house in Roswell. Well, Riley happens to live in Brookhaven. Now, what the heck Riley is trying to do developing business in Roswell, I have no idea. I live in Roswell. I'll take business in Brookhaven, Midtown, Woodstock, anywhere. But I'm not going to focus my thrust there. I'm going to focus my thrust in Roswell.
When you're starting out,
Yeah.
you can always expand after.
So if you live in Brookhaven and you live in Woodstock and you live in Roswell and you're in Gwinnett, that's where you want to do your open houses. So the minute somebody puts out, I need an open house, it's not pick me, pick me, pick me. You need to look at it intelligently and see, is that where I want business? The first Ignite class I taught, one gal was so excited because she hosted an open house for somebody, and she had all this business now in Gwinnett and further, is that east?
I don't know. I don't
Further that way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you live out there? That's good. I need somebody to refer business. She goes, no, I live in Woodstock. And I'm like, what? She goes, well, I hosted an open house and then I just kept getting people. So now she's building her business 45 miles from where she lives. So the first thing, not just for the open houses, as an agent, you need to determine your area of expertise because that's where everything's going to focus. Primarily, for this class purpose, your open house efforts.
And when should this be done, Susan?
This should be done the day you get your license and order your name tag.
But if you were just going along as your normal week, what day of the week should you be starting the work for your open house?
Well, if you're a really, really competent and thorough agent like Denise, you do it on Monday. If you are me and running by the seat of your pants on Wednesday, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have an open house for this weekend, and you start your plan. Because to me, the prime real estate day in the week is Thursday. Thursday is when everybody that went shopping the week before and didn't see anything good comes up is taking a last look to line up everything Friday so they can shop Saturday. I list my houses, I advertise my open houses, I do everything Thursday.
And I do everything Wednesday. That because I have read research that said most houses are listed. See?
I don't read.
I know. The majority of homes are listed on a Wednesday. So if I'm showing buyers for the weekend, I won't start pulling until Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
And Thursday, my listing is at the top of the market because it got brand new at 7 o'clock. I don't have to get out of bed. I leave my computer by my bed. I set my alarm for 6:45. I open my computer and I hit active, 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 active. Not that many in one day, but I hope. Okay, so you decide your area of expertise. You decide what you're going to do about an open house. And the way you decide where you want to do an open house is emails from agents, whether it be Clark, Susan, Denise, Cindy Young, Vanessa, anyone that puts out an email that says, I need help with an open house. Or you do a geographical search.
Which is proactive.
And A, this is proactive, so it makes you an incredible agent. And B, the one thing you want to always know is you are a realtor. You own a business, and you are in charge of your destiny. So if you are not taking charge of where, how, when, and why you want to sell houses, there's no point in having your own business. So this is what I would do. this is what I do, okay? I go to search. The majority of the time, in my opinion, and I'm sure there's other opinions in the room, Denise, I would normally, especially in the areas of my expertise, prefer to do an open house on detached homes. You're gonna have better parking, you're gonna have easier signage. You know, it's always nice when neighbors are walking around and making the neighborhood look friendly, but when you're in a townhouse community and people are walking down the street going, oh yeah, that guy there, you know, he had 6 dogs and he got evicted, you know, you don't want to hear that stuff for the people coming in to see your open house.
And accessibility, you want to have something that doesn't have a gate.
Yes.
That makes it really hard when you're really in town and you like have high rises. I don't know how you do an open house there, do you?
I don't, because that's not my area of expertise. However, people who it is their area of expertise have their plan.
Yeah. So that would be a good question if anybody gets the information to share with the class. All right, the first thing I'm going to show you, I go to search to figure out where I want to do my open house. And you saw I went up top here to search and went to residential. Then I take off everything here except active because I only want active houses. I'm also going to give you a brief lesson in FMLS. All this stuff is all great here, it's all standard, but I go to the bottom and I add, remove fields. So down here where you have additional fields, normally for most of you, all that there is going to be blank, unless you've already added fields. Excuse me, so I would go to that and I would go here to add, remove. Add, remove brings up this screen. Back in the olden days when Denise and Clark and I still had hair and could wear high heels and all that fancy stuff, all of these things you're seeing here were in the FMLS page. So it was really difficult to navigate when you were putting things in. So you would go down here, I don't think mine is there now because I've already added it, but you would take here, what we want is the office code. So I went down here for my office code.
Listing office.
Where am I? Oh, it's under listing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
Listing office code, and I would add it to my guidelines. Then I'm okay. I'm going to move it up because I want it at the top. See all the things I search with here? This is a look into the window of Susan Church. And I would go down to listing office code, and I would put in, what's our code?
All one.
Go back there.
I'd messed it up.
Go, you have to click in the field. Delete it.
Thank you. Oh, that brought up 7. Okay, KWFA01. Okay, so that brings up, right now in the FMLS area, Keller Williams First Atlanta has 233 homes listed. So we're going to go here and we're going to say, all right, I like Roswell. So I'm going to go here to the city of Roswell. Okay, that brings up 21 active matches. I go to my results. And what I'm going to try before I start going through these results is I'm going to go back here to criteria. And also down here in the bottom of my add remove fields, I have added days on market. So I don't want to hold a house open that's been on the market for 45 days or 30 days. I want to hold a house open that's been on the market while it's hot. Preferably less than 7, but that gets to be challenging. So I would go here and try 14 days or less. That takes me down to 7 listings. So in the Roswell area, there are 7 listings that are already attractive to me. Denise, what do you think is the best price point to hold open houses?
It depends on the area. However, for a new agent, I would do anything from $325 all the way up to $400. I might, because the Chatsworth neighborhood is in a hot section of Roswell with Cobb County taxes. So I might go up to that 475 because you're still gonna get a lot of great buyers.
So I believe under 500, really probably 450. I like to stay below jumbos. So jumbos are still 425, right?
What's a jumbo?
417. Oh, a jumbo?
Yes, what's a jumbo loan?
Good question. Does anyone know what a jumbo is?
Well, I say conventional goes up to 453 now.
Conventional? Oh. So here we go. Thank you. Then
So
I'll
you can do
definitely.
500 for putting 10% down.
Yeah, the problem with 500 is that people that shop at 500 don't so frequently. They're usually a little more educated or second home buyers, more so. And though everyone likes a good Sunday afternoon looking at open houses or Saturday afternoon after the kids' sports and you put up with them, they have to put up with you, so you go look at a few houses. Normally you'll get more successful with picking up unattached buyers and sellers, the younger millennials that are searching on the internet and doing stuff and may not have achieved a relationship with an agent yet, so you probably have a better chance at your middle and down price points. But does anyone know what a jumbo loan is?
So no.
Go ahead.
It's actually a private loan. Typically costs 1.25% more than conventional, and the underwriting standards are a little tighter. There's no automated underwriting on those, generally speaking.
So there's a price point, which you're saying is 453. See, you two are related, because it's a larger loan, different things. It's just when you have more money and you're buying a bigger house, there's different guidelines in qualifying for that loan. And it's easier to qualify for a smaller amount of money than when you get into the jumbo amounts of money. And you're saying it used to be, it's 453. I haven't really paid attention since it was 417.
Because you're a real estate agent, you do your job as a real estate agent. The
People ask
lender-
me too many questions, I'm like, you need to talk to the financer. You gotta talk to the financer. All right, so I would look at this list here, and then I would look at these and see what I like. So I would not look at this one at 760, I think that's kind of a waste. Inverness is a nice neighborhood, and Inverness does get a lot of activity, but I would still start lower down, and I would go through and actually look at the pictures and see what looks good to me. And I would read, I don't do that often, to be sure there's not already an open house scheduled, or be sure there's not something here that bothers me or looks like, you know, is problematic. And then I would go down here and I would call Leslie and I'd say, Leslie, this is Susan Church. I've just finished Ignite and I'm mentoring with Denise Mello Boyd. And I would like to host an open house this weekend. Would you mind, you know, could I do your open house? Would you like me to hold an open house? Then you're deciding where you want to be, what neighborhood you want to be in, and what types of things you want to build your business on. And you can do this for any area in the city of Atlanta or your expertise. So that would be how we think you find where you want to hold your open houses. Denise, do you have anything to add?
You know, I do my search a little differently, but we get to the same results. And it's just all about being proactive and you choosing where you're going to list the where you're going to do the open house, where you're going to, what day you're going to do it, and what times you're going to do it, instead of being at the mercy of somebody who sends it out on a Thursday, and then you're rushing to get everything done. I like social media, and so I would start if I do this on Monday, I would start just blasting it on social media. My mentees make their own little flyers, and they know that they need to put on there that it's listed by an agent, that they're hosting the open house. So I start marketing it on Monday or Tuesday, getting it out there. Do you want to go into door knocking, or you want to wait?
Well, there's a couple things I want to talk about. When you're going to decide that open houses are a way you're going to build your business, you need to have signs. And I'm going to tell you, signs get stolen. Everything in real estate gets stolen. And it is your responsibility wherever you want to host open houses that you know the city or the county ordinances and restrictions. sometimes they are heavily adhered to, sometimes not. But the first time that you decide, oh, I'm gonna get this fancy blah, 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 and you invest in $15 signs, they're gonna be gone. The signs I have out front, I don't have open house signs with my names on it because I don't really do open houses anymore. I feel that you should have, if you're gonna do open houses and you're starting your business, it's relatively inexpensive to go on to the Keller Williams site or any one of the sign sites and do open house 2 to 4 Susan Church. People get very used to seeing your name. And you only need one person to see your name one place, and they're out somewhere and they say, I see your name all over Roswell.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's great, I only have one listing, and it's back in a corner somewhere, but they've seen my name, and they're saying that to a group of people. So if I were doing open houses, I would put my name on the sign. Denise feels differently.
Well, I'm a fool who, I'm not a fool, I didn't want to lose my daddy's name. So I hyphenate, and Denise Melloboyd is a mouthful. And so I take a more personable approach and just do Denise with my telephone number. And that gets them
people
to me
recognize
as well.
it. Mm-hmm. And she also believes that it's fine to write in Sharpie. I think it's fine to write in Sharpie, but I also think that if I'm going to do this, and that's what I'm banking it on, I'm going to print my name so people say, yes, ma'am.
Did you say you put your phone number as well?
Yep, on your direction, on the directionals to get to the house.
Okay.
Because when they get to the house, the sign is going to have the listing agent. You're doing this to get business.
Okay, gotcha.
So your name, your number and name needs to be on your directionals.
And not just directionals. You might want to have a sign that says open Sunday 2 to 4 Denise, or open Saturday 2 to 4 Denise, so that you're putting it in the front yard.
Mhm.
I will give, when I have an agent that's doing an open house for me, you may have agents you do open houses for that tell you if you get a lead, a listing lead, they'll pay you 25% or they'll do this or that. That's common and it's acceptable. When you hold an open house for me, anything that touches that open house is yours.
Yep.
Any buyers that come in, any listings you get, anything you get is yours, 100%. I just want the house open to keep my client happy. That's all I'm looking for.
And I do it the same way. You get a buyer lead, you get a listing lead, you get the house next door listing. It is all yours. I want nothing for it, and I will help you, and we can work together to get both houses sold.
Yes, ma'am.
Practical question, when you said that you have 1,000 calls a day, and I'm searching and I see that you have a house, would you appreciate a call from me or a text or an email?
Text or email. Actually, the call was a stupid
Is this
idea.
like global, like by all agent, or they say, oh, what a lazy agent, you can't even pick up the phone and call me?
So I'm going to tell you, I believe, and this is me, I believe I am extremely good at my phone. Like my voicemail is never full. There are a lot of
You
agents.
think you're good at your phone?
Okay, fine. There are 1,000 agents that you will call and it's like, hi, this is Susan Church. Sorry, I can't take your call. You can text me or you can send me an email or leave me a message here. I'm returning calls between 5 and 6 on Saturday night. Well, it's already Wednesday and you get to the thing and it says, I'm sorry, there's no room. Please call back at another time. So I get unidentified calls, I call them right away. Like when I get in my car and I got 3 calls that I don't have a name to, I call them right away and I either leave a message, Susan Church, Keller Williams, you didn't leave a message, I'm not sure if you were trying to reach me or had a question about one of my properties, but feel free to call or text me back. Or a lot of last night I got Williams-Sonoma. Apparently I bought something for a wedding gift last year and they're wanting to know if I want to buy more. Anyhow, so you don't know, but I return all those, and I don't ever have a full answering machine. I don't ever have any of that stuff. So if I'm getting, and also, most of you here are younger than me. Do any of you still listen to voice messages, truthfully? Very few people do voice messages. Like young people, they send a text. If you don't answer the phone, they send a text. Or they send a text, and when you call them, they don't ever hear your voice message. That's what I find. So I don't like to go back through all my messages. I'm driving in the car, I have nowhere to write it down. You're calling me from your house phone, but you're leaving me your cell phone number. Especially now we can't touch anything. That's a pain in the butt.
So for something like this, send her a text.
Well, for any agent. Agents go through their business at the end of the day. They make notes, they do things, so you need to do that. All right, I talked too much.
Okay.
No. If it is something, if it's something like this, like, or if you're building a client relationship and it warrants a phone call, pick up the phone and talk to your client, talk to your customer. But for something like this, send a text. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, we want to go with our agency first, but can we reach out to like KW Chattahoochee North or KW
You don't know the
River?
answer to that.
We don't really have an answer. We should have, and maybe one of us can go get that answer. I might do that, yeah.
I did ask about that, and I was told that we have to stay within the first Atlanta.
Okay, that's what we thought, but.
You know, if by chance, like your sponsor, if by chance your sponsor in business was from a KW office in town that was a Rawls group and you decide to come here, you know, I've asked people that are under my line to help with an open house sometime to help their business. You know, I don't think that you get fired, but I think preferably we're trying to promote our business and our dollars and everything here in this property.
The company line is you do KWFA. Listen, we are the largest Keller Williams.
That's why we like us.
Unrestricted borders, there is plenty listings to go around and you're in all locations. So, for push comes to shove, find a listing in our company, our KWFA first.
All right, and so we're talking briefly about getting your own signs. Does anyone have any questions about that? Yes, ma'am.
Is there a particular number you should start with if you don't have any?
All right, so signs are relatively cheap at the FMLS store if you have not been there. I would say if you're new in business and you're starting out, it is real easy to go to the FMLS store and buy 10 signs and 10 holders for like $40. I mean, I buy them there. I just got these a couple weeks ago because I had none.
And this is where we differ. Like Susan has, yours aren't branded, right, with Keller Williams?
No, because I don't do it. Oh, no.
I only buy the branded ones. So they say Keller Williams.
And also, there's probably, the more branding you put on it, Keller Williams is only going to get taken by Keller Williams agents. And Keller Williams, Susan Church are only going to get taken by my ex-daughter-in-law who has the same name.
I guess that's what I was going to. It has to say, I thought it had to say Keller Williams First Atlanta because it's promoting a property, and if it's based on a listing.
That's
with all
another
our
question we
laws,
don't know.
Gray
It's
area,
a
but we'll find out the question to
Directional, it's not promoting the sale, it's just promoting the open house.
Correct. Gray areas.
Okay, so that's considered the open house, not a
Yes.
listing.
Well, we're not saying for sure. We're saying
Yes.
great.
But you know, your signs are gonna get stolen.
And it's not just stolen, it's taken.
Yes.
Like, so my sister is a #1 example. If somebody put a sign in her lot directly, tell me, she'd go right out there and take it out. She feels like it doesn't belong. I'm like, they got a right of way, like 8 feet from the street, you know, come on. And she is vicious about that, and I'm in real estate. We argue about it all the time. So if you're gonna put one in a corner house, you know, it's one thing if it's a main street at 92 and King Road. But if you're gonna be at Chafin and King and that's somebody's yard, I would have my ever always supply of $5 or $10 Starbucks gift cards. And I would go knock on their front door and I would say, hey, I'm Susan Church. I'm trying to find you a new neighbor down the street. I'm going to put an open house sign in your front yard this weekend. Is that okay? And they'll say, well, I don't know. Say, look, I really appreciate it. Here, get a Starbucks on me and I'll make sure the sign's out by Sunday at 10. You know, so ask permission is nothing wrong with that.
What is the best location to put a sign, an open sign? What is the best location from the actual house floor?
Anywhere cars pass. So you look, that was one of the other things that I was going to talk about on the,
You need to bring them in from a main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
And so like a neighborhood up here in Roswell, like Brookfield, that has 2 entrances and is huge. You know, you can have 8 to 10 signs.
right, so
Bringing you
here,
back to the house.
you open up the map and you can look, okay, here's the house, here's 92. So I probably want to have one right here at the street, but I probably want to put one on each side of the street. So when they're coming this way on 92, they see it here and have time to get over. If they're coming this way on 92, they see one here. And then when you come in the neighborhood, I need to make sure that there's one that's directing them into this cul-de-sac. And this is a huge intersection, and this is a huge intersection, so I may want 2 more. So you may want 7 directionals for this open house. And those are the ones you want to put out Friday at 5 o'clock. So 4 o'clock, so people that are coming home from work are already seeing, oh, there's an open house there. I'm gonna come look with my kids. My signs are very generic. I just brought those. Those are not a good example of signs. KW is good on it, times are better, all that times and day are better.
But at the end of the day, if it's something that gets you to the house, it works.
You're good? Keep going.
I'm good.
Okay, so
Do you put balloons on your signs?
everybody does different, and we're gonna get to those later in our presentation. The other thing, all right, you wanna have signs, and as I always say, and I'm sure Denise says, you are a realtor. This is your business, this is your life, you manage it. If you don't have a name tag on when you're doing the open house and out putting out your signs, they do know usually you're a realtor because you look like an idiot out there with your car parked, running around trying to get the thing in and stepping on and doing everything else. But you want to have your name tag all the time. You also, particularly before you have an open house, you definitively want to say, my lender. You don't want to say, have you talked to a lender? You want to say, have you talked to a lender? They say, not yet. You say, well, let me give you my lender. So you need to have signs and you need to have my lender. We believe you should have my lender, my attorney, my inspector.
Yes.
Those are the primary things. But you don't want to go into an open house setup without my lender. And if you don't have a my lender today, Larry?
JD can make you flyers that has all the information that, again, new agent would be perfect for an open house.
Right, so that's my gig to you guys. You are newer, and some of you may have a next door neighbor who's a lender, whatever. These people that sit here, movement, certainty, that they are here to make us happy. So you walk in and sit down and say, I'm Larry, I don't have a lender, what can you help me with? They will sometimes send postcards with your names co-branded, they will make flyers co-branded. There's a lot of things that they can do for you. And when somebody's in your open house and they don't have a lender, you don't want to say, well, you should really get one. You want to say, my lender, give me your number, I'll send you the V card of my lender, John Davis. And you send it to them, and there you've got a connection, you've got their phone number, and you look pretty experienced and knowledgeable because you have a lender. Also, if any of you, which we're going to get to later, safety and like holding your house open, lenders are normally very, very happy to help you with your open house. A lot of lenders, now it might be a little harder to get JD, you know, because he's got a huge office of agents here, but it doesn't mean he won't do it. But it's very easy to get a lender to hold an open house with you, especially on a brand new listing in a very active area. And then they're there to provide information. You know, they might say, if you know, give me your information, blah, 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 and you do a loan with me, I'll give you $1,000 off your closing costs. You know, so they're giving something that's enticing people to provide your information. All right, so those are things you need to have. This is where Denise was talking about before, about putting your signs out 3 to 4 days in advance. The minute you find out you have an open house, please get a sign in the front yard. So if you decide today that you're holding Main Street open, or you're holding, what's this guy? Oh, this is Lyndhurst.
360.
Then get over there and get a sign out front. There might be somebody driving by that, you know, I hate to say it, it's my listing, somebody drives by and calls me, but they're not available to look at it until Saturday. Well, if they drive by and see open house Saturday 2 to 4, I might not get that sign call, therefore pick up that client. You might get that client instead. So the sooner you have it out, the more traffic you're driving to you.
So the sooner you get the open house and start marketing it,
Right.
yes.
Question on that. Don't you already have your sign out there with your face on it and all that, right?
But you
I
have to-
don't have my face on my signs.
Well.
That might be shocking.
Okay, but you got your name and phone number, that's what you're talking about, them calling that number, and so therefore you should put the sign next to it.
So if, when you come by and there's a sign in the front yard that says Keller Williams First Atlanta Susan Church phone number, you're gonna put a ground thing on that says open Saturday 2 to 4, or open Sunday 2 to 4.
Right.
And you don't necessarily, I mean, it's great if you have your name and number on it, but if you have open Sunday 2 to 4, it's possible that person's not even gonna bother making the call. They can look up on Zillow and find a lot, and they're gonna say, well, I'm available Saturday, so I'll just come Saturday.
Right.
Which, this is a quick side note. If you tie balloons to the house sign, like the for sale sign, or if you, I don't like when agents that do my open houses use a rider, because I usually have a rider up there to call the information.
Can I interject?
You can.
Never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever take anything off the listing agent's sign to put something for the open house up. Never, ever, ever, ever.
And when you tie balloons to the listing agent's sign, take off the strings. It's horrible when I haven't been by a listing for 2 weeks and I go and there are 6 sets of yellow and green and red strings from balloons hanging all over it. It's awful. Plus, the people's property. If you tie balloons to their mailbox, have scissors and cut the strings off. It's not
With you
appropriate.
everything you bring. Do not
Leave only footprints. Don't put stuff in their garbage can. Don't do anything. All you leave is footprints. Don't leave business cards. Don't leave anything. Don't leave the person that comes to visit with an agent. Don't leave that agent's business card. Take everything with you. Everything.
Really?
Everything.
Okay,
There's a
so
thing
I do that
says
differently.
Take one, leave one, that people come and leave their business cards, you know, with all the.
I put nothing. When I list the house, I put nothing in the house for leaving business cards or anything because I feel like that's clutter. And I know if the people come or not. I capture their information in the super box. And if you see a lot of business cards, why would you want to buy the house if all these people have come through and haven't bought the house? So I believe they should be gone. And also, you're never going to believe this, but in real estate, sometimes we have clients that are a little eccentric. And some of them will start calling the agents from their business cards. And I just don't like that. So I tell them, throw it away. I tell agents when you show my house, you don't need to leave a card. I know when you got there. Your turn.
But if an agent is bringing somebody in during the open house, they're not gonna hit the super.
But if they're going to buy the house, they're going to call me. And if they don't call me, I don't need to call them. They're not going to buy the house.
Fair enough.
So,
Okay. Door knocking.
you know, we're not desperate. We're trying to get the highest price, so we surely aren't going to call you.
Door knocking?
It scares her.
It doesn't.
So, would you like to speak about door knocking?
I don't know, you're doing so awesome.
Oh, yeah. Does anyone have any questions we have not addressed? All right, door knocking. Oh, yes.
To find out about the different cities' sign ordinances, do you just go to the website? Do you just call?
Government website.
It's on a website.
Okay.
If you go to any county or city, and they will have a specific section in zoning on signage and advertising.
Yes.
And that's where you can get it. And if you have not looked at city websites, there's also a thing on city websites, this is a side note for education, called GIS maps. GIS maps, I should know what it stands for, but I don't read. And it will give you, like, you can pull up an address and you can see the terrain. Like, you can look at different things. You can see if there's a floodplain anywhere near it. You can look at zoning options that may or may not be available. You can see the lay of the land, you know, where they do the circles for elevations and stuff. So you can see if it drops off in the back. You can see everything all around it. You can also see there if people around you have put in a application for something and are waiting to hear, where you may not know, and you want to be sure that, you know, so I don't check it on every house, but if you have anything that's in a funny kind of gray area, you might want to look there. City websites are very interesting. All right, if you have not been in a class with Gene Rivers, you may not have been because you're probably newer. Gene Rivers is a very, very experienced and successful Keller Williams leader. And he has his businesses in Austin, Texas, and they're probably the biggest realtor in Austin anywhere. They started years and years ago. So he tells a story about he teaches a class about open houses, lead generation, door knocking. And he talks about this guy that he knocked on the door forever and ever and ever for like 3 years. Like, I'm back again, I'm listing another house. And it ended up the guy was like a bazillionaire and he helped him buy a big farm somewhere or whatever, and it was just persistence. So door knocking is a very effective tool. If there's a neighborhood you really like near you that sells at the 300,000s and you note that every time a house goes on the market there, it's under contract in 4 days. If you're bored one day, it's a great place to go at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock when people are coming home from work and knock on the door and introduce yourself and give them some stats as to what's been going on and tell them if they have any interest you'd like to come talk to them about their house. So that's something that goes back to the start of time with realtors. But what also goes back to the start of time is when you have an open house, it is very important you invite the neighbors. So when you sign up for an open house on a Monday, you pick a night that it's not going to be pouring rain, and you go at like 5 o'clock, and you plan from 5 to 7 to knock on doors. And you go to 3 houses to the right, 3 houses to the left, and 6 houses across the street, or 7 houses across the street.
And so this is where we differ, because I go 5 left, 5 right, 10 in the front.
And it also depends on your size of your neighborhood.
And I also bring, because when I do an open house, I'll have a CMA, so I know the information of what's gone on in the past year, I hold 12 months. When I go knock on doors, I bring a copy of that CMA. Theirs is a little bit prettier, but it's just a way of letting them know what's going on in their neighborhood.
You bring your one CMA as a display, but you don't leave it with them, or you leave it with them.
Yep.
And I would bring a flyer of the house I'm going to be selling and give that to them and tell them that I have more information if they'd like to come to the open house. I invite them. I tell them the reason I'm a realtor is because I'm nosy, and that they are welcome to be a nosy neighbor and come look at the house and see if there's somebody that they would like as a neighbor. Right now, until Labor Day, is a fabulous time of the year if you are going to be doing an open house, to go by the pool on Thursday night and Friday night. Adults with children are no different than college kids. Thursday night is a big night for cocktails, relaxing, and chilling out. So you will find a lot of people at neighborhood pools on Thursday nights as their husbands are coming home or their wives are coming home to meet and hang out and have a few cold beers. Bring your flyers to the pool. Hi, I'm Susan Church. I'm going to be in your neighborhood this Saturday hosting an open house at 123 Main Street. If you'd like to help pick your neighbors, or you'd just like to come see what they got inside, please come visit me and leave them your flyers.
Well, and something that I actually just stole from Susan.
Go ahead.
is, I sometimes will do a giveaway. If, I have 10 people come to the open house, and I'll draw their names out of a hat if they register. I'm thinking instead of wasting my money doing that, I'll take that money that I was going to do, buy $5 Starbucks cards, whatever, and when I'm knocking on the doors either way, just say, hey, there might be some traffic. Here's, have a coffee on me as the inconvenience. It's a better way of spending my money.
Anything you do to put your face in front of people with your name tag on is very appropriate.
I can't find my name tag.
I could have brought you one. Anyhow, so you get the gist. You have to create your business for that open house.
Yes.
Also, we recommend, like when you do an open house with me, I'm going to have my assistant advertise. They're going to put the open house on Facebook, Zillow, FMLS, Realtor. They set it up everywhere. But put your own open house on your Facebook that hits all your friends. Not one where you're tagged in or one where you share it to your Facebook. Go on there and say, friends and neighbors, I'm hosting an open house this Saturday. I'd love for you to come by. It's a beautiful house. Learn a little more about what I do and what I can do for you. So advertise and invite your friends. And if I'm your best friend, call me up and say, Jill, I'm doing an open house this Saturday. Why don't you come stop by and see me? I love when friends come by.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, believe it or not even. Just invite people. Get it out there.
And it's important when you're holding an open house that you appear to be an expert on the area. So if you're in a neighborhood and I come in and say, oh, I'm the neighbor, I live around the corner, this house looks awful. This house around the corner sold for $700 last year, and you know, looked 100 times better than this, and you got this listed at $725. This is ridiculous. You need to pull the neighborhood you're in for a year, and you need to, and if there's not many sales, you need to pull 2 years. And you need to drive there and look. You can't get in if it's sold. You usually can't get in if it's under contract. But we can take a look and say curb appeal's much better, curb appeal's much worse, it's down a hill, it's up a hill. If it's on the market, make an appointment. And if it is on the market and it's not vacant, call Susan Church and say, hey Susan, I'm hosting an open house in 123 Main. I see you're at 789 Main. I'd like to look at your house before I hold it open. I'd say, that's fine. I'll tell my client what time you're going through. What I always say when I'm doing that is, don't worry about your client. They can be there. I'm just running through. I'll have nobody with me. They could love you and you could be the next listing agent if it doesn't sell.
And if they give you a hard time and say, well, I don't want, you to come through, I don't want to take the time, my people to get ready for the house, just for a preview, just say, but I'm holding an open house in this neighborhood. If the people come through and they don't like this one, I'd love the opportunity to bring them to yours. Now, a greedy agent will say no because I want to be able to
also,
get
you
them.
might want to start out by saying, I'm holding my house open.
Yes.
If you want to do it too, it'll draw more traffic to our neighborhood.
Just always be positive and kind and.
We are the win-win company, remember?
Yep.
So that's why I say not just the neighborhood previews, say it for sale and sold, but around it. So if your house is listed at 300, do a pinpoint of a half a mile or 3/4 mile, depending on your density area, and look at houses that have sold around that are similar. So when people come in, you're knowledgeable.
I look a mile.
It depends. It all depends.
It all depends on what
on
you
your
use.
density and your volume. You know, if a half a mile gives you 20 houses, you're probably in pretty good shape. If a half a mile gives you 3, you might need to go to 4 miles to get an idea of what's going on. And my thing is always best to look at school districts.
There's a great website that I use. It's called schooldigger.com. I send it to clients and customers. Whenever somebody asks me about a school system, I don't give them data I know. I just say go look on School Digger.
There's another one, it's called Niche, Niche.com. Not that is, but the other one.
I don't know that one. That's great.
I give nothing about schools. I give very little information to my clients because I feel like if they find a school, when I moved, I went to the best #1 rated school and despised it.
What was the name of the website again?
So I don't give
Digger?
any information.
Digger?
Schools Digger, D-I-G-G-E-R.
Okay?
Susan,
Yes?
so the signs are in the ground, the balloons are out. What time do you arrive?
Oh, well, that's the thing. We forgot to say balloons
Put
and
balloons
or
out.
things. You have spinnies, don't you?
Yeah.
Elaine?
Pinwheels?
Some people have pinwheels. Some people just have crazy things that stick up that are shiny, like New Year's. You can buy balloons. Balloons are a lot of fun, but if you haven't yet done 20 balloons in your car with the air conditioning blowing, getting out on the side of the street, it can be challenging, but it is fun.
Having the occasional heart attack when one pops.
Oh, I'm sitting here like, ah!
I will say, you were talking about the little pinwheel things. I try to do them all the same color because there's always a lot of color themes, open houses. So you want to have the pinwheel, it'd be the same one, so they go, there's the one that I just saw
That's a good
earlier
point.
when I turned. So don't do like a bunch of different colors if they're going to go, because a lot of people use them too, so they'll be like, I don't know which one's which.
Well, and
but I
there's-
will say that signs are important, but like, I'd say 90% of people that come in get it off the internet.
Right.
But it's good for when they're coming through so that they can at least see them and then go, okay, this is the one we're looking for.
So that's another point too that we forgot.
Okay, which one? Because I forgot one. I got it stupid. We forgot one.
So, I don't know if only the listing agent can do this. No, maybe not. I'll research that. There's a website called openhouse.com. However, don't go there because you can get to it through FMLS. And you can advertise the open house on FMLS.
Oh, yeah, that's part of the advertising. That's what my assistant will do for you if you're
Right,
letting
but
open house.
they don't have your assistant.
Oh, I know, but my assistant, if you're doing it for me, we'll do it for you.
Oh, well, not everybody does that, so
Yeah.
just make sure that the listing agent does that for you.
Yeah, because you can't get in, the listing agent has to do it. Also, the thing that we did not say, which I'm gonna tell you is the utmost importance, I can't believe we forgot this. The most important thing for you to do is preview the house you're gonna hold open. Don't show up Sunday. You need to go, when you say Mondays, you know, Denise, I wanna hold your house open, she says, no problem. Say, when can I go look at it? Is it vacant or do I need an appointment? Make your appointment now with Denise to get the people out to go look at it. And you need to, all right, so I had a really weird house and Lane held it open. Lane knew more about that house than me, so ashamedly I'm saying this. He went out, he walked the property, he walked the park, he walked everything. He had looked up on the internet what the easement was for and everything. He knew everything about that house. And I gotta say, it was extremely thorough. I couldn't believe it. And it gave me great information because I hadn't done that.
Well, and I got a buyer out of it.
Yeah, right.
More than that house that I held open.
Right, so that was all great. So you need to make sure you go look at the house. So if you're gonna get there and you find out that they have 6 dogs and you know, it smells really bad, you might wanna say to the agent beforehand, hey, I went in there today and the dog aroma is really bad. Is there anything that you can get them to do about that before our open house? Or I went over there and previewed the house, and I don't know if you've been there, it's vacant, but there's water in the basement. Or I went over and looked at the house, and you know, any one of a number of things. But you should preview the house before you're open. When did you arrive, Denise?
3 minutes early.
Not like me. 30 minutes before the open house, you arrive. Make sure all your signs are out. Make sure every light in the house is on. We aren't in for mood lighting, we're into greeting. So we want every light in the house on. Every lamp, every closet light, every bathroom light. If it's got a fan attached to it, turn it off. But everything else should be on. Every blind in the house should either be straight so you see through it or all the way up. Or shutters are, you know, you have to use some taste. Me, I like the bottom half of shutters down, the top straight open. But you want that house as bright and light and open as possible. You want every toilet seat down. You don't want 2 baby diapers in the garbage can upstairs. You want them in the garbage in the garage. You want to be sure that if you walk in, people's houses look lovely. But it's not appropriate to have 3 dishcloths and a sponge and some kind of scrubber in the middle of the sink. It's not appropriate to have a thing of kale soaking on the countertop for their dinner that night. I have no qualms with anyone holding a house of mine open or myself moving things gently for the seller. I always tell them if you can't find something, look in the closest thing that opens. The oven, the microwave, the bottom drawer.
But please try and put it back at all costs.
Also, you want to be sure that your clients, I tell them people with zillion-dollar houses, let people come in. We really don't have a lot of issues, but you don't want to be stupid. So you want to run through their bathroom and their bedroom, and if they have left their pearl earrings and a diamond bracelet in the jewelry dish next to their bed, you want to open the bottom drawer, stick it way in the back, shut it, and send them a text so you don't forget. Your jewelry is in the bottom drawer way back of your nightstand. You shouldn't have left it out. If in their bathroom they are trying to have children and they have all the stuff out there for that and tests and whatever, that's not appropriate when the house is open. And that is going to be things you realistically come across. Their teenage son came back to stay in the house a night early and his bed's not made. You're going to be making that bed.
Yeah. I carry a can of Febreze with me because that teenage boy's room probably smells like a teenage boy's room, and I'll spray it. So Susan, where do you park your car when you do an open house?
Well, I am
We
not.
need to backtrack a second.
That's all right. I am not very worried about safety. I've never had a problem and I don't worry about it a lot. But safety is a huge issue in open houses. And when you show houses to people you don't know, when you have people coming into a house where you're the main person there, you want to be sure that you have an escape route in mind.
Where do you park your car first?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. You don't want to be blocked in the driveway. and you don't want to park it in the garage. You want to park your car up on the street. So the driveway is empty for people to come into. It looks like there's already somebody there. And you're not stuck if you have to take off. I leave my purse and anything of big value in my trunk with the car locked. I put the key in the back of my hip or in my bra. So I can get out anytime and my car will open. What else, Denise? Yes, ma'am.
How does it work? Like, say if you want to bring your husband or someone with you for safety,
You can.
Just have them sitting in the corner somewhere and
Well,
explain
don't
to
have
them?
them sitting in the corner looking obvious. I always tell, and my husband's never come, but
I don't worry about safety.
if I've had a lender with me before and there's people walking around, I ask them to kind of walk around like they're a person looking at the house as well. And that way when people are welcome in, they don't feel so like, what's that dude doing in the corner?
Insecurity.
You know? I am not a worry wart. I'm a little bit more security conscious. I always like to know how I'm gonna get out of the house.
Which is all this.
I employ the same ideals when I'm showing a house. Like if we're going into a basement, my client goes first. I don't ever go downstairs first. I don't go down a basement first. I always am the last person going in, and that's just a safety thing.
I only do it because I don't want them looking at my pants.
And then there's that too.
Where do you park your car?
On the road. On the street.
Someone told us also, he said, oh, if you do park on the driveway, it should be facing, like, back up. Like, you should be able to just, you don't want to start backing up and backing people, just face that you can just leave right away.
Well, you have to decide your own safety concerns.
So that's a good
And that's where I'd say also, I leave the back door, like when I go in, I leave the back door unlocked. Because if somebody comes in the front door and you don't like it, you go out the back door. But I don't consider that like paranoid. I just, my doors are always all unlocked. I hate to get somewhere.
And my husband, back in the olden days, we used to have to it was important to let somebody within your office know if you're doing an open house. So if you call them and say, I need you to grab that red folder for me. And Fiona actually taught me this, who's sitting right back there many, many years ago.
You say the address
You say yes.
for the folder. I need the red folder for 123 Main Street in Roswell.
And that's
And
to
that
let,
means Denise will call 911 and send them to 123 Main Street, Roswell.
so always have somebody knowing that
Where you are.
where you are and what you're doing for that time frame.
Ma'am.
I had an open house where the owner said that if you park on the road, you will get a fine. What do you do in that case?
So I would park in the driveway as far back as I possibly could with my car facing out.
Then you
But,
can ram the cars in front of
but
you.
honestly, I'd go for the fine for the 2 or 3 hours. I would,
A lot of times,
Like-
depending what that is, if you know about it in advance, you can call. Like in some of the neighborhoods where you're not allowed to have friends park on the street because they're small, they have to be in guest parking.
Or overnight.
If you call the HOA, you can let them know you're hosting an open house and no one will get in trouble. So those are all things that come with your homework time period. All right, then we've,
lights, music, we said
We
turn all the
said
lights
lights and
on,
blinds.
open doors.
open doors, music. There should be some kind of music, and it should not be Drake or, anything. It should, but you also don't want the one that totally puts you to sleep. But you want just something quietly in the background.
Know your clientele though. If you are doing this,
Hip hop?
well,
Yeah.
if you're selling in that kind of neighborhood, not stereotyping at all right now.
Sounds like it.
Oh.
Drake was the first person to say, don't play Pantera.
My grandson got my Spotify account. I am driving in the car with clients and Wiz Khalifa. I am like, what is happening? And I could not get it off.
But don't be like, my go-to, well, doesn't matter what my go-to is.
Appeal to as many people as possible.
And you can
Appeal
get
to
it
not
on-
offend as many people.
Most people nowadays, you can go in and say, Alexa, put on some easy listening music, and you've got
There you go.
one of my clients changed Alexa's name to computer, so I could never get Alexa on. And you can also, on most TVs now, you can turn it on and go down to your hot, whatever it is, where you can get music. Go ahead, young lady.
I think the safest, if you're in a urban, hip location, can't go wrong with like electric dance music or lounge music.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a great restaurant.
Yes.
You don't hear any words, you just hear this really up-tempo.
Correct.
Appeal to
That's what you
you're
want.
trying- make appeal to what
You just
you're
don't want
marketing to.
dead silence. When people walk in, that's uncomfortable. Ma'am.
When you say open doors, how about the main door? Do you leave it open or you shut it?
Well, I leave it unlocked.
Unlocked for sure, but do you leave it open or shut?
No, the
Shut.
main door is shut.
Okay,
And you don't want the back doors open, you want them unlocked.
yeah.
I would also, all right, so when you have an open house, this goes back to all the stuff they've talked about in real estate for years when you buy the how to sell your own house. Smells sell. When I did open houses, and I'll recommend to people doing open houses, I go in the grocery store and buy those little flat packets of break apart chocolate chip cookies. And I go to the person's house, I find their cookie sheets, and I bake them in their oven. On their cookie sheet, and I wash the cookie sheet before I leave, and I use one of their dinner plates and put it on their dinner plates. And it's a great way. I bring the little bottles of water. Denise has these. All right, so this is the first thing Denise and I disagreed on when we started talking about this. Denise had, like, you know, you put all this stuff here. When people come in, you give it to them. I give buyers nothing. I don't want buyers ever looking at paper, whether I'm taking them shopping or they're coming to my open house. Your job is not to read while you're in a house. Your job is to get the feel of the house. Feel what it looks like to come around the corner into the kitchen. You know, you give them something to read. The husband's over there reading it. Marcel's already on the back porch saying, Frank, you need to come out here. So you want them looking at the house, not going in opposite directions. So I give nothing. I would have a packet of a seller's disclosure and an FMLS printout. Oh my gosh, there's a cricket. Pick up your thing.
That thing has been in here
He's
all
been in here
these-
for days. So I would have that to give them.
You know that, don't kill him, it's bad luck. Is he gone?
No,
don't step on us.
Kill bugs.
I just
My husband's like, let him live.
All right, order.
Oh, he lives.
We're all bigger than him. It's not going to hurt us. Okay, so I would always have a packet to give people when they leave. I also don't believe that people are necessarily going to sign in the minute they walk in the door. Some people are going to tell you don't let people go look at the house until they're signed in. I don't believe in that. I believe to have somebody walk in and say, could you sign in for me? You're right away getting in a defensive atmosphere. So I keep little sheets with information. Denise made these beautifully. They look great. And it's not asking for too much. I would fill it out, and I would put today's date and the address where I'm hosting the house. And then I'd have these laying on the kitchen counter with a bunch of pens. And I have already established a fabulous relationship with the people coming in. I've established a relationship with their kids and what kind of dogs they like. I've established a relationship of how pretty it is out on the porch. I've established a relationship that when you lay in bed in the morning and wake up, you're looking at trees. I mean, we've already had all these personal conversations. So when they're getting ready to leave, and I say, would you mind, Betty, just give me your information here. It's good information for me to provide to the seller. And if there's anything you want to know about from the homeowner or from me, just put it on here. And, you know, they say, well, we have a house to sell in Crabapple Lake. I say, you know, if you give me your email address, I'll send you the comps for the last 6 months. And trust me, I do not bother you. You know, if you don't like me, I don't want to work with you. I don't want you calling. You know, I'll send you the information. If you want to get in touch with me, do. But I'm not going to put you on a drip. I'm not going to do whatever. Just fill that out. And it's successful. To me, when you come and you've got a list and you've got all that stuff on there, that to me is daunting. That doesn't feel comfortable. That doesn't feel friendly. So I choose to use these, and I choose that I get this much later in the process, not when they walk in the door.
I have that template, so if anybody would like it.
You can take anything up
You
here.
can take this, but my email address is Denise M. Boyd 3. No, yes. Denise M. Boyd
And you
3
think your name's a mouthful for me, you can't remember your email.
at gmail.com. Email me and tell me you want it, and I'll send you the template I made.
And then I believe in giveaways. I always like tacky marketing. So if you have not already, I know a lot of us have these pens. These pens are fabulous. People ask for these pens. My book club is always like, will you bring your pens?
Expensive.
And yeah, they're like 49 or 39 cents, depending how many you order from National Pen Company. It's good for old people to hold to write. It's good for all kinds of stuff. They're great pens that ink lasts forever. A big hit with all realtors are koozies. Denise has these, Kara Inman has these, a bunch of people.
And the reason why I do large water bottles instead of the small ones, because I put my koozie around them. And they could hammer a small water bottle like there's in no time. They're not gonna finish that whole bottle before they walk through the house, so they're gonna take the bottle with them with my koozie.
Yeah, have water, especially this time of year when it's hot and they're dying driving around the car. And cookies that you've baked. I usually burn mine, and that's a great topic of discussion for all the people coming in now, because I'm always distracted, and I burn all the cookies before people, you know, I stop and pay attention. You can take a cookie and pass them if you'd like.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not responsible if there's peanuts in any of them. I also tell people they can take a Susan Church stationery set, and I give them a pad and a pen. People love that. I have probably 1,200 of flashlights that are LED. They're really good. I give them out at closings. I give them out to kids. You got to be sure you take the thing out at the end and they work before you put them out for people to take. I also give people my picture for their refrigerator with the calendar on it. So you can take, they can take anything they want.
You have all that at the open house?
Not doing open house. I have that wherever I go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick question. When you host an open house, how do you introduce yourself since you're not the listing agent? How would you introduce yourself to
I just introduced myself as Susan Church. Hey, good afternoon. I'm glad you're here. I'm Susan Church. I can answer any questions you got on the house or, you know, anything about the market.
Okay. No need
Yes.
to leave right
You're
now.
talking about flyers, are we getting those from the listing agent, or will we make those?
You're making it yourself.
I have a flyer. So when I get my house listed, they send me a flyer. And when you're having the open house, I send you a seller's disclosure, a community association disclosure, a survey if they have one, and a copy of the flyer. So you can Photoshop my flyer and use it with your name on it, I don't care. Or you can use it as stamps.
When we host an open house, usually when they come in, I just tell them like, you know, go look at the house, and if you have any questions, you know, I can answer them for you. Do you recommend for me to follow them around and show them every room?
I don't, Denise.
It depends on if there's something in the house that is a really big point of interest that you wanna make sure they don't miss. But you also wanna remain downstairs so you can be greeting new people walking in. So you wanna be cognizant of that.
1 second, Larry.
On the flyer issue, Georgia MLS, if the listing agent will let you do it, 3 clicks, you can print a flyer with your information on it.
If you don't look at Georgia MLS, you are missing the boat. There are some great things on Georgia MLS. So I know I'm a real FMLS user, but there are a lot of things on GA MLS
Yeah, I think
that
you can-
are very interactive and
Yeah,
appropriate.
if you go to the listing, like you said, and then it just prints a flyer, and it's really pretty cool.
Right. Go to Georgia MLS, put in the address, pull up the property, it says print flyers.
And then it's either open house or.
Well, you can put whatever you want on it.
Yeah, which is good for the neighborhood door knocking.
See how cordial everybody is sharing things? And that's also, like we said, when you're door knocking, to bring a $5 Starbucks card, to bring little junk, anything's appropriate. What was your question?
So, lately I've seen open houses posted on our forum, on our Facebook forum, just our particular group, and I see the post of the flyer, who's hosting it, then exclusively listed by the listing agent's name. Now, is that something common courtesy we should do? I haven't done it in the last couple I've done. Does it really matter?
I don't know if it's common courtesy. I don't care.
Okay.
To me, it doesn't matter. When you're holding an open house to me, you are helping me pacify a client that thinks that the open house will sell their house.
Right.
And some will and some won't. But you are also building your business, not mine.
Thank you.
One thing is you always have to assume, you haven't touched on this, that the house has video or recording device.
That's a very, very good point, and you need to be careful, because we say that. So if somebody comes in and somebody says, oh, this is a really nice house, but you know, I don't know about that red dining room. You don't want to say to them, oh my God, I know, I hated that. You want to say, well, you know, red has been a really popular color, it really pops, and paint is an easy thing to fix. You all may not notice that, but that's a real easy thing to fix. Well, I don't think I could live with that red dining room. Well, you know, when you're buying a house, everything's negotiable. So that can all be written in an offer. But that is a fabulous
Our
point.
last open house that we did, that video.
I could be in so much trouble.
So that is the worst. And I was showing a house one time, it was not an open house, that we literally walked out the steps of the house and the agent called me and was screaming at me because of the way I spoke about the house to my client. And I said, well, I'm representing my buyer here. I need to point these things out. Apparently the seller was hiding somewhere. To this day,
That's what I'm going to tell you. This is so
to this
weird.
day, I still don't know where that joker was hiding.
I had a client laying under a bed in the basement. The son was laying under the bed listening to everything.
Listening to everything. And so when I'm showing houses, when I'm doing, you know, open houses anymore, I say, listen, we're in a different world
We'll
of
talk
technology.
when we come out.
Let's be respectful of the home. I will point some things out that I want you to see, but we don't know if people are videoing us. We don't know if they're audio taping us, and let's just be respectful.
Also with the ring, like when you know they have it, they can hear you. On one listing agent that I brought many people to the house, he said, oh, by the way, you do know that they can hear you. I said, thanks for telling me now. He said, yes, so they now.
It's a big thing. You need to be cognizant.
And you don't feel comfortable now.
I'm sorry?
Don't they have to disclose it to me? Like,
No. If you're in their property, they know.
They're recording so comfortable.
All right, so any other questions pertaining to the open house situation?
How early do you door knock before you?
You can door knock Saturday for the following Saturday. You know, door knocking is always a productive way to lead generate if you don't want to make phone calls. You know, and you can door knock after your open house. You know, you don't need permission to door knock. You know, people might get incensed. I get really incensed when people knock on my door. I'm a jerk.
And you're not soliciting.
Right, but you're offering information. So if you have an open house and it's a big full open house, Monday morning or Monday afternoon, go door knock and say, I just wanted to let you know I helped, you know, Main Street open Saturday. We had 35 people through. Your neighborhood is hot, hot, hot. So I just wanted to give you that information. If you have any questions about your house and maybe its value, call me. I'm happy to do it for free.
Do you leave anything behind if they don't answer?
It's up to you. It's all up to you. People don't use their front doors anymore. So it's, you know, that's like we have the door hanger things. You know, that's a hard thing. Do you hang it on the garage door? Do you hang it? If you have people's information, you can text it and say, Vanessa, I left you a little something on your front porch. And they get there. But if I'm knocking on Bill Smith's door, you might see something I left you 3 weeks later. And then it's just trash hanging out there. And to me, then that's annoying.
So I just handed out, and for those of you who didn't get it, we're having more copies made right now. It talks about different ways to get people to sign the sign-in sheet. It talks about follow-up after the open house and what you should do. And of course, it's just a guideline. But, you know, our theory is you keep contacting somebody until they tell you to stop, bye, or you just keep doing it until they say something.
Buy or die.
So buy or die. I love that.
What if they have an agent?
Now, if they have an agent, you need to respect that relationship.
Many of them do, yeah.
So.
And you always need to respect that. If you send something out in a neighborhood, you know, or you send somebody an email, you would put something like, if everybody wants to live in ABC subdivision and you send a note out, you have to put at the bottom of your note, this is not meant as a solicitation. And you might, if you're going to knock on doors and hand something out, if you're already represented by an agent or whatever, this is not meant.
Please disregard.
As a solicitation or to harm that relationship.
And if somebody comes into an open house and says that they have an agent, I ask who that agent is, and I call, and I find out the people's names, and I say, I call them, I say, hey, I just want to let you know they stopped by my open house today.
Which is really nice.
I remember that agent versus me thinking I have to go on the defense going, oh, my people stopped by that open house, they didn't register with me, blah, 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 blah. You know, I like to be proactive because you're not only building relationships with clients, you're building relationships with agents.
Which is also, just quickly, when you say, I wanna work in Roswell or I wanna work in Woodstock, you're gonna start knowing, like I have people all the time that call me, oh, hey, it's Katie, I wanna show another house, or hey, I'm looking at this house, I know you've been in there a lot, can you tell me anything about that area, about that thing? Like, you develop a great working relationship, which is a wonderful way to be, instead of confrontational. I'm sorry, Trey.
Yeah, I agree with Denise. You have to be really nice to the other agent. And when you're the listing agent and you are holding your listing open, you have to tell the other agents your commission is protected. Because if you don't tell them, they'll hold their buyers. They won't send them because they won't want their buyers to come because they'll think that you're going to mess with their commission.
Well, and that's also a good thing to put in your listing. And that's also a good thing, like when I get phone calls, and where I say get to know the agents, there is gonna be, 1 or 7 or 8 handfuls of agents that do a lot of business in your neighborhood, and they know they can trust you. So they're gonna call and say, Susan, I do have 2 clients coming in this week and I'm taking one out, can I send them to the open house? I'll say, sure, Trey is holding it open for me. They send me an email with all the information, therefore I forward to Trey. And there's no reason you should treat them badly. Even if they're already working with Denise and they love Trey, they might go home and their next door neighbor comes over to barbecue that weekend and like, yeah, we went to the open house, the nicest agent, Trey. Denise says she knows him, he's really great. The guy might decide to call Trey instead of Denise. You never know what you're gonna get.
It's still a win-win.
It is a win-win. You gotta be nice to the other side.
Anybody else? Questions, comments, ma'am?
In my neighborhood, I need a permit for door knocking. If I do an open house there, does it same need for permit?
I don't know. I don't understand the permits
That would be
for
a
door
zoning, look on your zoning. Or actually, if it's a neighborhood thing, you need to call your community association.
So could I get, before you guys leave, I'm gonna start here and go around. Oh, did we already sign in? Did everybody sign in?
No.
Yeah.
So let's pass it around and make sure everybody signs in so they think Denise and I are connected.
So Susan, what do you recommend for agents after the open house?
What do I recommend?
To leave something nice for the owner and say thank you for
I
your
said thank you for,
No, I'm not.
with your leads, with the people that have come into the open house.
So if there are people that I connect to, I try to have a plan of action with everyone that leaves. But if there's been no connection, no plan of action, they will always leave with something with my name on it. And in full disclosure, I have not held an open house in probably 6 years. It's full disclosure. Honestly, this is terrible to say. I have great business, and I don't want to, knock on, jinx myself, but my weekends are either filled up with the clients that I have or my family. My number one thing in my life is my family. When I was newer in the business, I either sat in a kiosk at North Point Mall on the weekends, or I held open houses. So I did develop, I still have clients from that kiosk in North Point Mall when I was with Caldwell Banker that are in my line. But I don't find it necessary at this point in my life to hold an open house. But when I did do an open house, I would have a plan of action with everyone that left. And if there was nothing that they wanted from me, why are you gonna bug them? Why do you care if you have his email address? If he doesn't want you, or do you think you're gonna make friends with him by trying to wrangle it out of him and then sending him stuff? But there's always something somebody needs. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're coming to look at this, you don't know if you're quite ready, you're gonna say, let me tell you what, we have all been there. And no matter what, this is your very biggest investment. I love, 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 love my lender. She is like me. She is gonna wanna be your mom. She's gonna call you 75 times. She's available on Sunday. She's available on Friday. She talks to your mother. She does anything you want. She'll help you. Call her and make a plan so you can buy a house in 3 months. And then if I've given him Paige's information, Paige is gonna call me and say, I just talked to Lisa. She met you at the open house Sunday. And she said, you were so nice and gave my information. Thank you so much. She and I talked and she can really afford a house anytime. So she's gonna be calling you. Well, then I haven't harassed Lisa. I've given her Paige's information. But so Paige gives me her number. I send her a text. Hey, I heard you talk to Paige. Do you want to talk? Call me. And lo and behold, I get a call. But you don't want, the thing where you have to have everybody's email and you have to have this, or, you say, I have a house I have to sell. I'm happy to send you information on that house, on your neighborhood. Well, I was thinking about doing for sale by owner. Well, I don't blame you. If you think you can for sale by owner, do it. I'll, give you some information and give it to them. If you're protecting everything like it's so valuable, it's not. They can get the stuff that's not as accurate off Zillow, but who cares? If it's a hot enough house they can sell and you give them that, they'll use you to buy the next one or to help their kids. You just don't know. So I always try to have a plan of action. If there's no plan of action, I don't follow up with them. I don't do it.
Do you do any reporting back to your sellers about how you advertise the open house?
I am sorry, that's a big thing we need. If you are doing a house for an agent, anytime, anywhere, sellers want feedback. And if you have listings, you're gonna already know that it is very difficult to get feedback from a lot of agents. Agents, for some reason, they know their sellers want feedback, but agents are obnoxious about taking 5 minutes to give you feedback. They don't answer emails, they delete showing time, they do whatever. It's horrible. So when you have an open house, it doesn't need to be well written, it doesn't need to have bullet points, it doesn't need to do whatever. One agent that does open houses for me has these individual sheets like this, which I gotta tell you, she's incredibly successful. When she does an open house, she'll have 10 of these for me. And she'll just send me a line of text, picture, with all those, and say, nobody was really interested, but I did get a lot of, good feedback going through. They said, whatever. Or she'll say, number 3 and number 5 are interested, 3 has an agent, 5 doesn't, I'm gonna follow up with 5. So that night, before you shut off the light and go to bed, no matter what, send the agent feedback so that the next morning, they can be on top of the seller and doing feedback to the seller. And never, I don't care if the seller comes in 30 minutes before you leave and wants to hang out, that seller is not your business. I do not want to hear from my seller Monday morning. Oh, Bobby already did this and that. It's not your business. Stay out of it. Be cordial and be nice. You can have any buyer, you can have any listing, you can have anything. Don't mess with my seller. You be nice, but you are not his best friend. You don't start emailing him, you don't start dropping this. It's my seller.
If you want to be really fantastic, you're going to send the agent that you're doing the open house for the information before you walk out of the house. Because then when you get in the car, you're thinking about the grocery store, you're thinking about sports, you're thinking about where you're going for dinner, and you're going to forget to give that agent that information. And if you want to do more open houses for that agent, you need to get them that information, because Lord knows their seller, I know it's the same dress, isn't that funny? You want to get that information right away.
I held an open house for an agent, right? And I went in correct me if I'm doing too much. I went in with the mindset that, of course, I was trying to capture business for myself, but I went with the mindset to really have the people love the house and engage and get excited, because I was excited about the home, and they're like, oh my God, did you check out the closet? It is incredible. And then there was a lady that came in and she was like, I really, really like this. And I said, well, do you have representation? Is there someone that's working with you? She goes, yeah, my agent. I said, what's her name? And she said, whatever. So I text the listing agent the phone number for the lady who looked very interested. I said, hey, there's a person here right now, and she really loves the house. And she's going to get in touch with her agent, but here's that information so that you can speak to the agent and, probably start the process to make an offer, because she's really excited. And they wrote an offer. They wrote an offer that night. Because it wasn't just about, oh, you like it? Oh, that's cool. You can call her. Just going further, they didn't have their agent there with them, so the agent wasn't going to know their enthusiasm. So I said, you know, oh my God, tell your agent. In fact, let me get you in touch with the listing person.
I've done that, there's many times like that.
Right,
I mean,
because-
it's very rare that an open house will sell the house, but that's happened a couple of times to me, but I would rather, it makes me look good, and again, it's that same
And
thing,
isn't that what
having a
we're trying to
relationship.
do?
You know what that's gonna do though, cause and you never know, the listing agent may compensate you, or, will keep looking to you.
Or you
I
get a
like
phone
karma.
call for a
Thank you very
sign
much.
call and you can't make it, so I call you to
Yeah.
get the sign
I
call.
mean,
I
it's
had one
just-
house, I got 9 buyers off
You
the
never
sign.
know what can happen.
I was so
Or-
excited that, I was like, she wants to buy this house. We're gonna sell this house. And then it turned into a contract. It was 4 o'clock. She had an offer at 6:30. She was in Florida, and she had an offer. And I was like, yeah, don't just show the house, sell the house.
But that's gonna trickle down to so many other places. If I have a listing and I get in 5 offers, and Sabine gives me an offer, and then I get 4 others, and Sabine's offer and somebody else's offer are perfectly aligned, like no change, financing, anything. I'm gonna say to my seller, Mr. Seller, I've worked with Sabine before, she is a team player, and I feel confident that, we will get this done. It's just about building relationships everywhere you go.
It is.
And the bottom line, I was just trying to say, I know we're there to grow our business through the 7 houses to the left, right, and all the traffic inside, but you're here to also sell the home too.
If open houses sold houses, I would hold one every day.
Yeah.
Chances are, and this is just reality, that home is not gonna get sold by that open house. You are there to generate business. Your first job is to represent that listing and represent the listing agent in the professional manner you want to. But your secondary job, which is primary to you, is growing your business.
That's why it's important to have something with your name, because then if you don't have to get their information, I mean, it's good to get their information, don't be wrong, but if they're taking away something with your name out, they're like, oh yeah, I remember this guy, he's so nice. I'm not trying to be rude either. I have to get something done with my hair at 12 o'clock.
I always do flowers. If I don't have, I will go to Costco and get an apple pie and bake it, and then I will leave it for the sellers. Or I'll
I
burn a
leave my
candle.
burnt cookies for the sellers.
And then the one last thing that I do that's different from Susan is I write a handwritten card to, and I just make it generic, but I just say thank you so much for visiting, blah, blah, blah today. If there's anything you ever need, real estate or otherwise, I'm here for you. Or, please give me a call. My card's in there, it's handwritten, and I hand it to each buyer as they walk out the house.
Wow.
And that's just
That's
another-
really nice.
That's another
very
last minute
nice.
touch.
So you
Question?
have this prepared today?
I have this prepared ahead of time. Sometimes I'll put the house address, but then sometimes if I don't know how many people are gonna get, I won't, because then I've wasted my time.
And that's where it is nice to keep your things generic. That's why I say if you write in your address and the date on here, you could do 5 of them and then you're only wasting 5. The more generic, the more prepared you are for an open house. You can have an open house bag that you grab when you go.
I use the open house app, for them to register, and I never get any, drawback from that. They look at the house, and I ask them, when you're done looking at it and you have questions, we talk, and then I say, would you mind registering? They go right up to it and put everything in.
That's good.
It's legible.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's great.
And you can take a picture of the house.
Everybody here, just like Denise and I, is gonna find what works for them.
Yeah. And at the end of it, I make notes on every person, and at the end of it, I can email that to
That's
the
great.
agent I'm doing the
Beautiful.
Do you recommend, asking for feedback for that come in? Cause like on this form, you can have a picture of the house or whatever, have this information.
I try not to
and
put
have
people on the
feedback.
spot because.
Yeah, and if they're gonna tell you something, you're gonna hear it.
Yeah.
And that's like people, I even tell my sellers, when you have somebody come in and they don't get back to you with feedback and don't get back to you, if they're gonna buy the house, they're gonna tell you. And you need to be aware whether people are there. You don't follow everybody around, but it's just like being a mother. You're listening to what's going on all over. So you gotta be aware of what's going on. So you hear somebody walk in upstairs, you're downstairs, and it's like, oh my God, lime green. And you're like, the lime green bedroom was not a big hit, So and people are leaving, you can say, what'd you think about the house? And they're gonna say something, but also, people don't always tell you the truth.
They're not gonna tell you the truth in the house, they're scared.
But if you want feedback and you call me, you'll get the truth.
One last tip that I really like and I like to share is they said, especially if you use the book or these sign-in sheets, fill in already a name with what you want them to fill in. You know, when you go to the doctor and the person in front of you checked in and didn't really put his email, you're not gonna put your email, so you just follow the person right in front of you.
We do this also because some people don't like to see a whole bunch of information just laying out.
Right.
So we did this and then you can pick it up.
I keep them in a stack over there so they see people have filled them out, but I don't leave them
If they
out.
haven't filled out everything, they'll say, oh, she doesn't need my email, the other person also didn't fill out. You just follow.
Well, bear in mind, you're gonna get some great information and you're gonna get a lot of lies. But that's like in real estate, everybody lies. It's not intentional. You know, half of them you can't read their writing. Like I said, if you develop, you have 10 minutes to make a relationship. And that's where you need to work on, you know, sales and people finding a common ground, making a relationship, making something that's gonna make them stick to you. So in an elevator, you have 30 seconds. In an open house, you have 10 minutes. In a grocery store, you have the length of the broccoli aisle. But you need to figure out how you're developing a relationship in that amount of time. And that's what's gonna make you successful or not. We can tell you to use the sign-in app. We can tell you individual sheets. We can tell you customized signs. We can tell you generic signs. You're gonna figure out how you can make a relationship in all of those windows you're allotted. And in an open house, I tell you that your allotment to make a relationship is somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes.
And I say less, but.
And it could be, you know, if you get them cornered and talk really fast like me, your 3 minutes of thing could really be 10 in the real time.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah, it was great. If anybody has questions, comments, or answers that they want, they can email or text me, but I'm leaving to get my hair done because I'm due at 12 in Roswell. And obviously I need my hair done. Hey, I love you.
Okay, How are you? Thank you. It's going to the market.
Even it is, I was wondering if there think about it.
Thanks for saving his whole life.
It's good to see both of you again. I wanted to be sure to kiss you. I haven't seen you in a long time. All right, I'm going. I'm not going to get You look great.
got a little camera.
I know that Buzzy, that kind of thing that is starting to, I guess, yeah. Oh my goodness.
Buzzy does do that? Something else.
See, I love Buzzy.
So I know that they'll show you the temperature. As another camera. See, always hear the yes. They have them, but they try. I'm for what
Buzzy was super busy. And he goes more places than Buzzy
Thanks for today. Appreciate it. I'm going to do that.
So yeah,
So there's gonna be one, two, like three. Open house. Yes.
I'm talking to non-construction.
I think it's late to get the printed and all that. I'm going to ask that to release big stickers. They can also make a sign right away. So I don't know if they can leave this. Because I'm
Okay, thank you very much. You can send me the address, I can look up here and let me know when I can go see it, if it doesn't have to be in the market too.
I will. It has a contract cost on it right now, so if it's, and I'm leaving that on there for the, photographer. So if it's still on there, I'll send you the code, otherwise I'll post it. Feel better.
I just wanted to say hey again.
I just wanted to say hello. I haven't met you. I've heard your name.
Oh, I'm Denise.
Denise, it's nice to meet you too. And I was in the, I'm good friends with Susan. And she mentioned we used to be related to another one. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, she's awesome.
How do you wear t-shirts? That's what I was going to ask you. From the gym, you know, constantly that you fit.
So his mother taught
Okay, good. Because he was telling me about this. So this is the restaurant one. This one's really one Dude, I had the best DJ when I was working my house. She was like, I had this other girl like show me one house and cover any else. Want to ask how I got the answer? Okay. I thought I had the story right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, he is totally crazy. but there's, I know, you guys have.
Yeah, it's like really good people. I've only ever been around TJ, but like I've heard him like on the phone with his parents, and they're giving him a hard time because I'm sitting there next to him or something. I was thinking about it because like I think he was calling me mom or something. But I feel like that was
He is truly
that's a nice job.
Yeah, but I adore this game.
Nice coffee. He does that really I know, me too. When I met up with him a little while ago, when we were and I was like, yeah, but you don't want that. Thank you for that. Yeah, but
I'm so glad. I really appreciate it. Finest.
Yeah, F-I-N. There's some three of us.
My husband's name is Brad.
Oh, wow. That's very unique.
Well, and that's we named our youngest that too. So he's a junior. Yep. So my youngest is getting my
Yeah, it's a great conversation. Especially my work in sales. So.
Yeah.
I'm actually being assigned one today at 1. I don't know yet. So, yeah, I'm really nervous. Yeah. Do you really? Yeah. Well, I have I got your email. What's it at?
It's at Gmail.
It's at Gmail. Okay. It was Denisep boy.
You just have to tell as many if you were interested and I can cover it, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. And I had a few questions I wanted to ask you. I don't want to hold you. So, I'm just curious to know about individual signage. I've heard about this money or things like that. What do you think about houses as opposed to when
You really like that.
How about
thank you, I appreciate it.
do you recommend expired? Things like that. What do you think about really generating
I don't know.
Did he ever speak to you? Did he get it?
Awesome. Yeah. Right.
But I almost
my friend. My friend. Lunches upstairs.
So I would work on my students.
You're like an office
I don't know expires.
Not so much, because I recall back when you were showing us how to locate this church that was showing us how to go to different outlets to search, to look for the expired listings in there also. You wouldn't necessarily recommend that for new agents right off the top. Just the way the checks were cut. So I
do something for
I'm gonna do what you did to me for the first couple months.
like an old fashioned and I'll
I don't hit it for just everybody, there are special houses I really want. But every agent is different. I know, gentleman that set up here, his name is like, I heard him
Right. So I'm gonna go to the class that Trey's having on Saturday.
Do it, Trey's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to the class. I was just curious to know, how do you get just, is how do you get more opportunities? So yeah.
But remember, like, my son said, every single day you would change.
So prospecting, so you're just cold calling.
I don't love cold calling because again, that's not my personality, but it worked for some folks. I would work with a guy putting that together. I want to for spear.
Well, I put my database together.
So that's
I have it
awesome.
broken down to kind of more so I can kind of get a statistical kind of survey. So I haven't broken down to profession. So as opposed to just a database of 1,200 different people, I have people that might be barbers, people that might be consultants, people that might be plumbing or advertising, marketing, so on and so forth. So I haven't broken down that way.
Is introduce yourself to them.
Okay. I do. Yeah.
So you want to introduce yourself as your everybody's on the same page. A great touch is sitting down and then following up. Yeah, if you got my name and last name. Just, I'm in real estate, I'm so excited. There's lots of things I can do for you, but again, friends and family, it's a quick phone call.
And there's one particular, I'm sorry, there's one particular area that I am taking this church advice also. Looking in the area where I live right now, I live in Cobb County, West Cobb, near, so always really good area. I was doing some research on some of the houses that sold out there. They're right in the price range that we were discussing today.
And that's a great area because they're always buying always stuff up, there's a niche for that.
So how would you recommend exactly getting like sending out flyers and things like that and personal information of those when I'm not necessarily in that neighborhood. I might be in a neighborhood that's next to that or one, 2 neighborhoods down or something. How would you go about?
So that's gonna be more farming a neighborhood. And
okay.
that is a big
So I can just get like the street name and then I could get someone here to, okay.
Oh yeah, you can pull whole neighborhoods in FMLS.
Okay, so there wouldn't be a problem sending out that information or?
No, you just would wanna make sure you have all the proper disclosures on there, which whoever your mentor is would
They'll be able to help with that. Okay, all right, okay.
There's so many different ways.
Right, right, okay, well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know, I don't even have a name tag.
Right, now
So
there's so much.
It wasn't in my bag, it wasn't in my purse, it wasn't in my car.
Right, checked all the checkout.
I don't know where it is right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, you're probably at a level where you don't really even need one.
I do. Everybody needs it.
Yeah.
You're never at the limit. When you think that you're at that level, you are not like this.
Okay, so always.
You always, you gotta stay focused on who you are, what you're doing.
Right.
One of, so the biggest agent in this
Do you got this card on you by chance or anything?
That I'm not so bad.
Because if you don't, if I don't really know how to get a feel for my mentor or not, or I don't know, but maybe perhaps.
You could always just tell Bailey.
Okay.
Better at the class.
Okay.
I'm really interested in you now.
Right.
Okay. And I know you're pretty busy, but I would love to
I don't want
teaching.
absorb as much information from you as possible. And I work full time for the city of Atlanta, so I do have plans to. So I work in diversity inclusion. I work in compliance management, is what it's called.
Okay.
So, for instance, if an advertisement is put out, including federally funded dollars, taxpayer money, it's mandated that a certain percentage of that project include minorities that are involved on the project. So Prime has to show good faith and efforts, that he has reached out and has included, at least, we come up with these percentages by a third-party legal disparity study that says that it takes a survey of the Metro Atlanta area and says if there's 150 million different African American businesses, there's 30 million or so Hispanic American business enterprises, small business enterprises, minority business enterprises. There should be at least 10% of them involved on this project. So, yeah, that's a little bit about what we do, but I also do. We do project. We do meetings where we set the goals. Like I just said, we set like a percentage for each project. It's a case by case basis. We do pre-bid meetings, so that's just pretty much to explain exactly what it is that we're expecting, how to fill out our forms, and it's more so about the prime showing that good faith in
That is amazing.
I want to share it again, so I'm gonna say that
because it's
do you plan to transition over?
oh, completely. Oh, totally. Yeah,
Where'd you go? Did you
I
go
want
to school in Georgia?
I did. Yeah, I went to Georgia State. I graduated just last spring.
Photoshop is nice.
No, Georgia? I'm a Georgia fan. I'm a Georgia fan anyway, so I like. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a big Georgia fan. I'm a big Georgia fan.
My daughter's there.
Does it need to be like some of them?
Oh, really?
She was texting me all morning, so I kept looking at my watch.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
It is exciting. Okay. Go to
But
your meeting.
I have total plans though to be able to transition through, and I would love to sit down with my mentor and talk about set GCI goals and
I'm
things like
tough on my
that.
mentors, so
I would love it. I want
I've got one that's on
to
she's supposed to go to her second year tomorrow.
really.
So,
How long has she been in the? Okay. So, I've worked with. I'm part of the business sponsorship program. So I have someone that
Just for like the Hulu bus. So how do you do it? You just
Great.
tap it.
I don't know.
But we're all very busy. So I mean, Allie, are you familiar with Allison?
oh yes.
Yeah. She's a great friend. So me and her brother went to prep school together back in high school. Yeah. So he's a good friend of mine, and we were just catching up, and just he just told me pretty much that his sister is in real estate. She's crushing it, doing amazing. But
She's got an amazing mama too.
yeah, amazing family. Yeah, her aunt actually was my 10th grade geometry teacher.
I love all the intertwined scenes. I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how that works. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd love to have you as a MC, but it's totally up to Bailey how she assigns it.
The looks wasn't a bonus.
Maybe hard to put flowers on her desk. Is this my stuff?
When you came, so how long have you been in real estate, if you don't mind me asking?
So I just celebrated 20 years.
Congratulations.
But I first started as a field called secretary, closing secretary. So I did kind of the lobby and carried you a paper. And then I got licensed and I was a buyer's agent for somebody for
So you're working on a team?
Yes.
As a buyer's agent?
Yes.
Wow. No? Really? Wow. Right. You're not building your own brand, right? I keep on being told that.
So then I went out on my own. I sold new homes for a while. I did lots of different things. The great thing about it is I was like, I did this. So when I had a job, I maybe would do 2 or 3 deals, but I would not prospect. I wouldn't go after people. It's just the people that came to me. And that, I mean, because I'm just big on family. So that would afford me the time with the baby.
Right.
And then I would go back.
Right.
So I did that 3 times. So, but what's so nice is as my kids get older, my business gets to get busier.
Right.
Which is good.
Well, like
So, whenever, like, it's like, you get into seniors and, like, yeah, but I'm happy with what I mean, I always want more.
I mean, 20 years, that's...
But I'm happy.
I'm sure you've been very happy throughout the years, but 20 years.
It's good stuff.
I really appreciate it. I'm not gonna continue to hold you, but I'm here until probably gonna go and get some lunch or something. So 1 o'clock.
Ready
That's
for-
when.
Is that what you're meeting with?
That's when the new
Bailey?
agent orientation is, so, yeah.
I'll still be here. I need to work a little bit today.
Okay.
Well, I need to
No,
look
another
work
day
at the
we
office today.
Okay, well, I'll see you around.
I'm missing
Little
the
pieces of
month.
No? So,
I know
is
some-
this whole?
I mean,
this
the
whole
funny thing is,
thing
like,
is
I can understand. some
No,
stuff
this,
because
the
I-
main floor and the fourth floor.
Okay, okay.
With regards to
Yeah.
understanding about soap operas.
But we are the largest.
Sound like-
At least I'll pick up the language.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're so nice, they're so fragrantful.
Wow, that smells great.
It used to go pretty well. You know,
Really?
so long if you get-
Wow.
We haven't got a few in. All right.
I need this. What else?
I understand. I don't know.
Denise, you leave them? Sorry, like you buy everyone flowers? Like when you have them?
I do actually leave flowers at the open houses. These are from my front yard. I'm gonna go give them some later. They just grow.
So awesome.
Well, anyway.
I jack the air temperature and I freeze everybody out.
Nice meeting you too.
No, right.
And, see my number. And I'll picture on my card, I mean, I'll remember.
Yeah, when you close the deal, then get your picture.
That's, I know.
I was just telling the picture of the cards before.
Yeah, I mean, send a picture, like, the picture's not bad, it's actually a good picture, just, if you send it to him, forward it to me, or you can.
You can, look what he did.
I can touch up.
That's not, this is with a touch-up, that's not the original one.
Oh, that's with the touch up, okay, so then.
Right.
So,
That's really nice.
I just did that with
the card.
$40.
For, how many?
Like 500.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was cheap.
Well, see, I get my cards
We got,
cheap.
what's that?
Robert, we're gonna
Vista
add
print.
you too.
Oh, you went to Vista Print?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then look at the quality of the card is good.
Yeah, that's.
Soft.
See, I went to this guy, but he said, if I'm out of cards, if I call him today, I get them tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
If it's printed,
he's
it's
in-
like 4 days. late.
He's in, Washington, or Seattle, or somewhere. I don't know.
I like the rounded corners because the corners don't get messed up.
Smart.
So, and it's different when you hand somebody your card, it's rounded corners, and then the first thing you notice is it has rounded corners. And then they put it in their wallet or whatever, it doesn't mess it.
It doesn't bend up, yeah.
So that's one of my old jobs, they gave me a card and it was rounded corners like
678.
478,
678.
470, 0152.
Like, who took your picture?
I had my wife take my picture.
Really? It's like
I
a-
used I have a Sony A6000, it's kind of like, it's kind of fancy, everyone gets the camera, but it does all the work. Was it good?
We plugged you
And
a lot.
literally, I was wearing my shorts. So I just put the shirt and peeked on, stood in my
Yes, you get
backyard.
away. By the time I do makeup,
So then you would, maybe would.
Maybe do it then when you're ready for that.
I know, but I don't, my pictures are not good as.
Yeah, you're being hard on yourself. See, nobody likes their own picture, so everybody's their own worst critic. You're being.
I know, but I don't want it
Right,
to
Deb?
too, like. I don't know.
Listen, that picture is fine.
No, I'll show you the original and then I will,
Really?
yeah.
There's a lot of people over there.
What'd you say?
Well, I
I'm
don't
trying to think
know.
out loud what was.
I had a buddy.
You can use it all you have, I mean, it's really,
Use it, or use it
So
for.
she,
If I had a doctor alone, I think all I was like, just call well prices.
and you tell me, cause I need like a, but I don't want it to be like everyone disgusting calling me. See, this was one. This is in Jerusalem. Two.
these are fine. You had a photographer do the picture, right?
Yeah, this is a photographer, she took her family pictures. So.
You can use that.
So you can use that, you
Like
make
that
it.
picture, go back.
Yeah.
That one's probably.
Yeah,
Doesn't it look like-
and on the card, make it more of a headshot, you don't need the whole thing, make more.
Yeah, so you,
Yeah.
but you don't need to worry about that, like, you're gonna be more.
But it doesn't matter that you don't see teeth? It doesn't look like him.
No.
You can do that.
Oh, wait,
I mean.
that's a good picture if you do it from here up, you know.
Yeah, just like there.
That's a good
That's fine,
picture.
those pictures are fine, you can take me as.
I like that.
That's why I don't invest my money right now in, yeah, these are my kids.
Hang on a minute.
Oldest.
But where's your
15
husband?
and a half right here.
Okay.
And then twin boys. Then
Well, who are these
10,
other
7,
people? You have
3.
extra people. Who's the girl in the middle? Wait, how
She's
many
a
kids you got?
10-year-old. 6.
Oh, you had 6. I thought you said you had 5, that's right.
Yeah. There was a sale, like 2, but I want to get 2.
Yeah, she went to Walmart.
And I was like, you know, this is so adorable. So
Yeah,
this was
that was odd.
actually.
You gave it to the other side, yeah.
Right, so she like faded it a little bit for me. She photoshopped it because I have hair here. That's bothered me all the time. Like I'll see my card, I'll see this here.
Yeah, that's a little bit too thick.
Yeah, it's a good picture, but too faded.
Like you wanna, yeah, like see how clear that is?
That was on my phone. I
Right,
sent her
use
from
your own
my
phone.
phone.
See? might
So,
maybe use
so
it
we
more.
do, so we do have a wedding, so she faded it a little bit, but then I think she, where was it? She put it back to natural lights.
That's a good picture. And
Yeah.
again,
Better than
just do a,
this?
yeah, that's okay. Do the, just do the
Is it
headshot.
better than this?
This one
With
is-
the teeth?
Well, you gotta figure the teeth on it.
And so I said.
No, I just, if it's not smiles, it's smile the whole mouth, no? I don't know.
Whichever one you like with.
Oh, this
It's one of those.
That's a good picture. Again, just do it from here up, you know. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna see it.
I
Yeah, what?
see it.
But it doesn't matter, you can just, like, nobody's gonna be like, oh, shit, across.
Yeah.
They're not gonna analyze it. Jesus Christ.
I do, I see everything in a photo. Everything. If I see a picture of the house under carpet,
Yeah.
it's like, perfect. I'm like,
But I do too, but people look at it, are paying attention to that.
okay. Okay.
Cool. Your name, let me know.
Thank you guys.
What was your name?
Gila.
Gila, okay, I'm sorry.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Nice to meet you too.
Too.
Thank you, Mark, for being in touch. Any open houses? Okay, so that. I saw that they got so many open
Hey, girly girl, do you want a hand? Sure. You okay?
Good.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Where are you going now? Yes. I wonder who gets this. I will do it. It only goes to Miss Kristen.
There is, this flashy vaccine.
Are you sure? Yep. Just seeing. Ooh, yes. Yes, you want one?
I may or may not have already had it.